What if the night sky is not silent? What if the stars that glitter above us are not simply ancient fires, but a network of eyes, ancient intelligences watching, waiting, observing the fragile shimmer of a young civilization on a blue planet orbiting an ordinary star? For centuries, humanity has gazed upward with curiosity and longing, searching for life beyond Earth, sending signals into the darkness, listening for echoes. Yet perhaps the truth is inverted. Perhaps it is not we who seek them, but they who have been watching us patiently, quietly, since before we learned to write, before we learned to see the cosmos as a map of possibilities. What if the watchers are already here, unseen, undetected, yet intimately aware of us? If such a notion stirs your curiosity, if you've ever felt the hum of the unknown in the stillness of the night sky, then stay on this path with us. Subscribe, and continue walking deeper into the cosmic silence where questions shimmer brighter than stars. To begin, we must first confront our own assumptions. Humanity imagines itself as the observer, the explorer, the discoverer, the one peering into the abyss of space seeking answers. Yet, from the perspective of an advanced intelligence, we might be the observed, our planet a luminous bead in the great cosmic ocean, our broadcasts and technologies a signal flare revealing our presence. Since 1901, when the first radio signals began to escape Earth's atmosphere, our electromagnetic footprint has expanded into space, a sphere now over 200 light-years wide. Within that expanding shell are thousands of stars, perhaps hundreds of habitable worlds, and maybe, just maybe, civilizations capable of detecting our unintentional whispers. To them, Earth would already be a point of interest, a world alive with the faint signature of intelligence, a cosmic anomaly worth observing. The irony is profound. For decades, we have built telescopes, sent probes, and constructed massive arrays to listen for messages from the stars, while our own emissions have made us visible beacons to anyone watching. If there are civilizations more advanced than us capable of interstellar observation, then it is not only possible but likely that they have already detected us. Our radar, television signals, satellite communications, and even the atmospheric changes we've induced through industry form a complex signature of artificiality, a fingerprint that distinguishes Earth from the natural background of the cosmos. To those who can see in the right wavelengths, our planet would shimmer with the unmistakable markers of civilization. And yet, the watchers, if they exist, remain invisible. Perhaps they observe from distances so vast that even their signals arrive centuries after being sent. Or perhaps they watch from closer than we dare to imagine. Hidden within the asteroid belt, beneath the surface of our moon, or cloaked in the upper atmosphere, employing technologies indistinguishable from nature itself. The very idea stretches our imagination, yet the mathematics of probability supports it. In a galaxy containing over 100 billion stars, with billions of planets, it would be an act of arrogance to believe that intelligence has arisen only once. The famous Fermi paradox, "Where is everybody?" may conceal an unsettling answer. They are here, and they have always been here, but they choose not to reveal themselves. This possibility has haunted thinkers for generations. Enrico Fermi's question, posed in 1950, was deceptively simple, but its implications ripple through every field of science and philosophy. If intelligent life is common, then why have we not encountered it? Why no messages, no visitors, no undeniable evidence? The answers proposed are many. Perhaps interstellar travel is too difficult. Perhaps civilizations destroy themselves before reaching the stars, or perhaps communication between species is inherently impossible. Yet there remains a quieter possibility, one that evokes both awe and unease. That contact has already occurred, but not in ways we recognize. The watchers might not communicate through our language or our technology. They might not even exist within the same dimensional framework we inhabit. They might simply observe silently, as we once observed the behavior of animals from behind glass, studying, learning, waiting. Imagine, for a moment, standing beneath the night sky. You look upward and see only stars, yet what if one of those faint points of light is not a sun, but a listening post? a construct built by a civilization 1 million years older than ours, placed there to monitor the rise of new intelligence. It might not even require an active presence. Autonomous machines, long outliving their creators, could drift through the void, gathering data from countless worlds, transmitting findings back across the eons. If this were true, then we are not explorers, but subjects of observation, participants in a vast experiment we cannot comprehend. And perhaps, just perhaps, they have already assessed us and chosen patience, waiting until our civilization matures enough to understand its own significance. Throughout human history, we have told stories of watchers, gods, angels, spirits, and hidden beings who observe from the shadows. Perhaps these myths are echoes of an older truth, the faint memory of encounters with something beyond us. The ancient Sumerians, the Dogon people of Mali, and other early civilizations spoke of visitors from the sky who imparted knowledge before vanishing again. Skeptics dismiss these tales as symbolic, yet the persistence of the motif across cultures and millennia is difficult to ignore. It is as though humanity has always sensed that it was not alone, that the gaze of something vast and unseen rested upon it from above. Whether those stories were divine, psychological, or literal, they reveal a deep intuition, that we are part of something greater, something that watches and waits. If the watchers exist, their motivations remain a mystery. Do they study us out of curiosity, compassion, or caution? Are we a potential ally, a resource, a threat, or merely an experiment unfolding in time? Perhaps they observe as naturalists observe wildlife, careful not to interfere, knowing that contact could alter the very behavior they seek to understand. It may be that they have enacted a kind of cosmic non-interference directive, ensuring that young civilizations like ours evolve without external influence until they reach a certain threshold of stability or wisdom. This would explain the silence, not absence, but restraint. And if that restraint ever breaks, the revelation would redefine everything we believe about life, identity, and the universe. There is a poetic symmetry to this possibility. As we develop our own artificial intelligences, create autonomous probes, and send them into the depths of space, we may be unknowingly following in the footsteps of civilizations that have done so before. Perhaps our future probes will become the watchers of other worlds, circling distant suns and studying alien species. If this cycle repeats across the cosmos, then the act of watching becomes universal, a shared behavior of intelligence itself, echoing through time and space. To see ourselves as both observer and observed is to recognize our place in a vast, recursive continuum of awareness. And as we continue to search, building more powerful telescopes, scanning for faint transmissions, and decoding the subtle patterns in cosmic noise, we might one day find confirmation, not in a burst of radio waves or a landing craft descending from the sky, but in the quiet realization that the watchers have always been there. Perhaps the signal has already arrived, hidden in the data, waiting for us to notice. Perhaps the first contact will not be dramatic or visible, but internal, an awakening, a recognition that we have never truly been alone. If that possibility moves you, then remain with us, subscribe, and continue the journey as we explore how the watchers might reveal themselves and what that revelation could mean for the future of humanity. The story of humanity's search for extraterrestrial intelligence is, in many ways, a mirror held up to our own fears and aspirations. For more than a century, we have sent signals into the dark, built vast arrays to listen, and stared into the void in search of an answer. Yet the silence that greets us may not be silence at all. It may be observation without contact, a choice made by intelligences whose technology transcends our imagination. Our instruments, bound by the limits of physics and perception, might simply be incapable of recognizing the watcher's presence. To them, we are like fish in a bowl, aware of the water, unaware of the glass, never realizing that beyond it, eyes are already upon us. If the notion of unseen observers both fascinates and unsettles you, then stay with this story, subscribe, and follow it as we journey deeper into the shadows of the possible. Modern science has begun to entertain scenarios that sound increasingly like science fiction. Some physicists have proposed that an advanced civilization could manipulate not only electromagnetic signals, but the very fabric of space-time. Instead of sending radio waves, they might transmit information through quantum entanglement, using the fundamental structure of reality itself as a communication network. Others speculate that the Watchers could be using dark matter or dark energy, the unseen scaffolding of the universe, to observe us. If 95% of the cosmos is invisible and unaccounted for, then what better hiding place could there be for intelligence so far beyond us? We cannot yet detect dark matter directly, and if an ancient civilization had learned to weave its instruments into that invisible field, we would never know they were there. The very particles that pass through our bodies by the trillions every second could be carrying information, data streams from civilizations we cannot perceive. Every neutrino, every fluctuation in the cosmic background radiation, every subtle distortion in quantum noise could, in theory, conceal the whispers of Watchers. To our detectors, they appear random, meaningless, yet perhaps we are like primitive creatures staring at written text without understanding the concept of language. What if the message has always been there, and our minds simply lack the vocabulary to perceive it? Even our planet's recent history invites contemplation. Governments around the world, once dismissive of unidentified aerial phenomena, have begun to release data, recordings, and testimonies of encounters that defy conventional explanation. Military pilots describe objects that accelerate instantaneously, change direction without inertia, and disappear as if phasing out of existence. Some scientists argue these could be advanced drones or natural phenomena, but others quietly suggest a more disturbing possibility: surveillance technologies from beyond Earth, operating with perfect stealth and precision. Perhaps they are not visiting us for the first time. Perhaps they have always been here, hidden within the fabric of our skies, emerging only when curiosity demands it. Imagine that these Watchers have mastered invisibility not through cloaking devices or optical tricks, but through an understanding of physics that renders them unobservable. They might exist in adjacent dimensions, folded within space-time like pages in a closed book. To us, they would be invisible, intangible, yet to them, our world would be as open and transparent as a fishbowl. They could see our cities glowing in the night, our oceans churning, our satellites orbiting, our species evolving. They might even study us through gravitational waves, detecting the subtle distortions created by our movements and technologies, reading the rhythm of our civilization as one might read the pulse of a living being. The idea is not without precedent in nature. Just as we observe ecosystems without disturbing them, tagging animals with microchips, monitoring from afar with drones, and recording behaviors from hidden vantage points, so too might advanced beings study humanity. We may already be cataloged, our biology and culture recorded in immense archives of alien knowledge. Perhaps our art, our conflicts, our aspirations, and our mathematics are all known to them, analyzed not for conquest or exploitation, but for understanding. Maybe the Watchers view us with the same reverent curiosity we feel when studying the stars, aware that each civilization, no matter how fleeting, contributes to the cosmic mosaic of consciousness. But the Watchers might also have reason to remain silent. Contact between civilizations separated by millions of years of development could be catastrophic for the lesser. The shock of revelation could fracture societies, destabilize belief systems, or provoke fear beyond comprehension. So perhaps they wait. Perhaps they send subtle signals, testing our readiness, measuring our response to the unknown. Maybe the recent wave of unexplained phenomena, those glimpses of impossible motion, of silent craft and strange lights, are not accidents, but gentle prologues to something greater, hints left for us to interpret. To watch humanity is to study a species on the verge of awakening, and maybe they are waiting for us to open our eyes. Consider the paradox of the zoo. The animals within it can see the visitors only through glass, unable to comprehend who they are, where they come from, or why they watch. To us, they are unaware, but to them, the Watchers might appear as fleeting shapes, reflections, or lights. It is not difficult to imagine that we are in a similar position. The watchers might not even exist within the same temporal frame as we do. They could perceive time differently, experiencing centuries as moments or moments as eternities. From their perspective, human civilization might still be taking its first breath, an infant species just opening its eyes to the cosmos. And if this is true, then perhaps the question is not are they watching, but what are they waiting for? The moment of contact, when it comes, may not arrive through an event or a landing, but through understanding, when our consciousness expands enough to recognize what has always been there. When that day comes, our species will stand on the threshold of a new reality, not as isolated beings in a cold universe, but as participants in a network of awareness that transcends biology and matter. Subscribing ensures you remain with us on this journey, exploring each revelation, each theory, and each whisper from the edge of the unknown. The Watchers, if they exist, might already know how to guide us without interference. They may nudge our evolution subtly, inspiring leaps of creativity, moments of genius, breakthroughs in science and art. Perhaps the great surges of knowledge in human history, the Renaissance, the birth of quantum theory, the sudden explosions of innovation, were not entirely spontaneous. Perhaps inspiration itself is a form of contact, a whisper that passes through the subconscious, guiding a civilization toward readiness. This idea may sound mystical, yet it aligns with the logic of observation. True watchers do not dominate their subjects, they nurture them toward understanding. We stand, then, at a precipice between fear and wonder. The watchers, if they are real, may not resemble anything we can imagine. They may be beyond form, beyond matter, beyond even individuality, vast, collective intelligences woven into the very structure of space-time. They could be ancient, patient, and incomprehensibly wise, studying us not as an anomaly, but as a reflection of themselves in an earlier epoch. To realize this is to see our civilization not as insignificant, but as part of a continuum of life stretching across the universe. If the Watchers are indeed among the stars, observing the blue shimmer of our world, then perhaps they see what we too often forget, that amid conflict and chaos, there is also beauty, resilience, and an unquenchable curiosity. They may see in us the same spark that once ignited their own ascent, the same desire to understand, to create, to reach beyond the boundaries of the known. And maybe, just maybe, that is why they watch. If the Watchers are already among the stars, patiently observing, then humanity's place in the cosmos is both humbling and exhilarating. To exist under observation is to recognize that our story is not isolated. It is part of a larger tapestry of intelligence, creativity, and cosmic evolution. The realization forces us to confront our own behaviors, choices, and ambitions, knowing that even the smallest action could be recorded, interpreted, or perhaps even studied as part of a broader pattern. This perspective transforms mundane life into something profound. The rise and fall of civilizations, the quiet moments of discovery, the sparks of imagination, all gain resonance, as if every heartbeat and thought contributes to a narrative that stretches across time, space, and possibility. Some envision first contact as a dramatic moment, a flash of light, a voice from the heavens, or a landing that shakes the foundations of society. Yet, if Watchers have been observing us, contact may be far subtler, far more intricate, unfolding not as spectacle, but as evolution of perception. It may come through patterns, insights, or inspiration, revealing themselves only when humanity has grown ready to comprehend their presence. Perhaps the Watcher's greatest gift is not arrival, but guidance, a patient nudging toward understanding, a quiet awakening to the vastness, complexity, and beauty of the universe. In this sense, the act of being observed is itself a catalyst, pushing us toward curiosity, wisdom, and empathy on scales that transcend our ordinary experience. Subscribing allows you to remain part of this ongoing exploration, following the subtle signals of knowledge as we uncover the cosmos' hidden connections. The implications extend beyond science into philosophy and consciousness. What does it mean to be observed? How does our awareness of scrutiny alter our perception of self, of society, of our collective destiny? If advanced civilizations are watching, then humanity exists within a framework of cosmic accountability, yet one that is not punitive but instructive. Perhaps observation is the universe's way of guiding intelligence, showing that growth, curiosity, and ingenuity are the qualities that ripple outward, leaving traces not only across space, but across time and consciousness. To imagine ourselves in such a network is to embrace both humility and wonder. We are not alone, yet we are responsible for the narrative we continue to write. Even our technology, our artificial intelligence, and our exploration of space could be part of a feedback loop. As we send probes, telescopes, and satellites into the void, we become participants in a dialogue that may have begun long before our species evolved. Perhaps the watchers are aware of these signals, anticipating our progression, mapping our trajectory, and adjusting the subtle patterns of their observation to match our development. In this grand theater, humanity is no longer passive. Our curiosity, our creativity, and even our mistakes may resonate through the cosmos, contributing to a dialogue we are only beginning to perceive. The universe becomes not a backdrop, but a stage, alive with intelligence and possibility, and subscribing allows you to follow each new chapter as our understanding deepens. And there is a haunting, beautiful symmetry to the idea. As we search for others, it is entirely possible that the watchers have searched for us, evaluated us, and patiently waited for the right moment. The patience required to observe across millennia mirrors the patience of the cosmos itself, a slow unfolding of knowledge, perspective, and awareness. Perhaps one day, we will reach a point of recognition, a moment when the veil lifts and the observers become known, not as conquerors, but as fellow participants in the cosmic story. In that instant, humanity's understanding of existence, purpose, and connection would expand beyond imagination, revealing a universe alive not just with stars, but with awareness. Consider for a moment the poetic resonance. Every transmission we have sent, every probe launched, every fleeting signal crossing the void may already have been catalogued, interpreted, and returned as knowledge, not in ways we can yet decode, but in ways that shape the cosmos quietly and profoundly. Perhaps our civilization is still in the opening chapters of a story that began long before us, and the watchers are simply chronicling the emergence of intelligence on a small blue world. They might see in our struggles, our innovations, and our aspirations a reflection of themselves at an earlier stage, understanding that growth, resilience, and curiosity are universal markers of intelligence. Ultimately, to imagine that aliens are already watching is to embrace awe, humility, and possibility. It is to recognize that the universe is not silent, but full of subtle interactions, hidden intelligence, and patient observation. We are participants in a narrative that stretches beyond comprehension, a story written not just by humanity, but by the interplay of countless minds, civilizations, and cosmic processes. And as we gaze at the night sky, aware that our every action may ripple across the eyes of unseen watchers, we are reminded that curiosity itself is sacred. The desire to understand, to explore, and to connect across space and time. Subscribing allows you to remain part of this journey, following each revelation, each theory, and each subtle glimpse of a universe that is alive with observation, awareness, and infinite possibility. In the end, the greatest revelation may not be that they are watching, but that we are learning to see the cosmos as they do, a living, dynamic, interconnected tapestry of intelligence, creativity, and wonder. Every star, every planet, every fleeting signal becomes part of a story that transcends our own existence, a story in which we are both participants and observers, watchers and watched. And as we contemplate this, we find that the true cosmic mystery is not merely whether aliens are observing us, but how we ourselves will evolve, respond, and awaken to the vast, unseen intelligence that may surround us at every moment.